Williams, and wow, what a catch!
Floats it, back corner for Adams. He pulls it in and gets his feet in. Touchdown.
Toss to White. He's in. Patriots win the Super Bowl.
Thank you, everyone out there, for watching and listening to another edition of Inside the Pylon. Fidel Barrazin here, along with Chris Arzola, and from Lions Avenue, Walter Stringer. What's going on, Walt?
Not much. Can't call it, man. Another mock draft review.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Well, Walt, let's review you round one mock draft. Let's start off with the first overall pick, and I think the selection right here, it's pretty much a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, Caleb Williams to Chicago, unless something dramatic happens and the Bears decide that they were going to go with Jaden Daniels, or whatever. I'm not sure. Did they even send anyone to anyone else's pro day other than Caleb?
I believe they did, but I don't know if
Yeah.
the GM and the coach went.
Yeah.
I think they were at Ohio State, but obviously Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't do anything. I think they were there, but they didn't pretty much send anybody else, I don't think, to scout any other quarterbacks, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I think it's a no-brainer. Honestly, I think he's the most talented quarterback in this class.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels isn't far behind him. Sort of a lost art, a guy who played a lot of snaps over Arizona State. Took him a while to grow, but once he grew, we saw what he eventually could become at LSU. But yeah, Caleb, and you consider what he's walking into, you just gotta assume that the Bears are going to get this one right. And they seem to be taking the correct steps this time. You look at what he's walking into. Darnell Wright, first round pick from a year ago, right tackle. He was great for them. You're looking at the other tackle. I think it was Braxton Jones. He's been solid. The interior of the offensive line got better as last season progressed.
Mm-hmm.
He's got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. And I love giving a rookie quarterback 2 veteran receivers.
Yes.
Which is going to help him out tremendously. You're looking at a guy like Cole Kmet. Could you upgrade at tight end if you wanted to? With, I think, was it number 9 they have? The 9th pick, I believe they have right now.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so they've got some options. Could they? I'm actually in favor for the Bears of them adding another wide receiver, because I think that type of wide receiver room is perfect for a young wide receiver to walk into. A guy like Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
Let's say he happens to fall to number 9 or whoever they decide to be their favorite wide receiver. So, yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I think Caleb, regardless of who had the number 1 pick, I would take Caleb Williams number 1 overall, regardless of how weird people think he is.
Yeah. And he's walking into one of the better situations a rookie quarterback could walk into, right? I mean, you got Keenan Allen that you just traded for. You got DeAndre Swift at running back, right? You have some weapons. You got Cole Kmet there. He had a big year last year. I mean, so essentially, Chicago Bears are pretty well equipped if Caleb Williams can play well his rookie season.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You just got to hope that the coach gets it right, because you have a lot of situations where you can't screw up the generational talent. You can't be the coach that does that. The guy who messes it up with Andrew Luck or whatever, the guy who messes up with this guy, or Urban Meyer messing it up with Trevor Lawrence or whatever it may be. So, yeah, I think it's a situation that's set up perfectly for Caleb. And if Caleb hits the ground running, even though he's going to have his bumps and bruises along the way, but if Caleb hits the ground running, the Bears could be seriously contended in our division, as much as I hate to say that, because it's tough when, and we're going to get to Minnesota in a while, but you're in a division where you have the Detroit Lions, who are a pretty well-built team. They've got a seasoned veteran at quarterback. You got Jordan Love over in Green Bay. You got Caleb Williams, of course, going to the Chicago Bears. And then you have a situation where the Minnesota Vikings could be left out in the cold unless they take a quarterback this year. So Caleb Williams, number 1 to the Chicago Bears, slam dunk, makes the most sense.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's go to number 2 pick, the Washington Commanders. What do you think they do?
Jaden Daniels.
Damn.
I think that's what they should do. They've been super quiet on the Commanders front right now about who they're going to take. I think we're pretty sure it's a quarterback. It's going to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
Question is, can you protect them? And I think in the situation that they're in where they need Joe Alt probably just as much as, or Olu Fashanu just as much as they need a quarterback. So the thing is, if you're going to put a quarterback, a rookie quarterback in that type of situation, until you can get things really going on that offensive line, get things corrected and fixed, you need a guy that can make things happen, a guy that can improvise, a guy that can run. And that's what Jaden Daniels is. Jaden Daniels is a legit 50, 60-yard touchdown waiting to happen if you give him the lane. And I think for a team that has a bad offensive line, you need that type of dynamic player behind that offensive line. That was a big issue I felt that Sam Howell had.
Mm-hmm.
He could move a little bit, but he couldn't move enough. All of those sacks that he had last season was not that offensive line's fault. For one, they let him drop back to way too much and asked him to throw the ball way too much behind a crappy offensive line, which is a silly game plan for people who get paid millions of dollars to come up with. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know how it happens. Sam Howell, yeah, you were the most beat up quarterback in the league. Yeah, we didn't help you out on the offensive line, but we're throwing you out. Get out. We want someone new.
Yeah,
I agree.
New coach, new GM. So
Correct.
New
They're
quarterback.
bringing in their guy, right? They're bringing in the guy that they want, and especially right now in the NFL, where I mean, it revolves around the quarterback, right? I think that it's like we just talked earlier before the show started. Next year's draft, as far as quarterbacks, is not going to be anything compared to what this year's draft is going to be, as far as quarterbacks, right? So, I think when you have obviously the number 2 pick, which they could probably find themselves in the number 2 pick next year or number 1 pick too, because I don't think they're going to, progress that well as a team. But I mean, I think right now it's a no-brainer, I think, to go for a quarterback, because again, it does revolve around the quarterback. If you can get the quarterback right, you can obviously start building the pieces around from there.
Well, what do you guys think about Daniels to Washington? Because it seems like the Commanders, their roster went from being one of the most young, talented rosters in football 2 years ago with all the names they had on defense in that front seven. Then you look at the offense with Terry McLaurin and Trent Williams been gone for a minute, but it seems like they just overnight just got bare. And, even McLaurin, could McLaurin eventually be traded?
I don't know why you would trade him. Again,
it seems like the high price wide receiver typically is the one to go.
Yeah,
kind of quick. I mean, they want to start cleaning the house a little bit more. He's the only guy left with any value.
Yeah,
outside of Jonathan Allen.
Yeah, but I mean, when you think about it, I mean, with the addition of Austin Eckler, right, and you still got Brian Robinson back there, could be a good running back pairing, right? But if you do draft Jaden Daniels, he needs help on the offensive side. So to me, I don't think they trade Terry McLaurin. I think he stays put. Now he could struggle this season, right? Because the offensive line issues that they have going on. But with Cliff Kingsbury there as the OC now, I think he's going to be able to kind of develop some plays and make sure he protects his quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's gonna get the ball out quicker than I feel like, he's gonna get the ball out quick, basically. You know what I mean? I don't think he's gonna be sitting back there kind of like Hal did last year. Like you said, a lot of dropbacks. I think Jaden understands that he's gonna have to get the ball out quicker, and also too, they're probably gonna do a lot more play action, probably get him out outside the tackle box a little bit more, allow him to use his feet in different scenarios and stuff like that. And again, with Austin Eckler, we've seen how the type of running back that he can be is a good pass catcher outside of, obviously, outside as well. So I think that's going to help him out as far as getting rid of the ball a little bit quicker and obviously use the safety valve like, Austin Eckler. So I like the pick for Washington and Jaden Daniels. I like it.
Yeah, I wish the Raiders would trade for the pick, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to cost them too much. But I mean, to me, Jaden Daniels makes the most sense.
Washington has an opportunity.
I do.
Even if they do take a quarterback, whichever quarterback at number 2, they have 4 picks in the top 50, I think. Yeah, they have 2 picks, real close to the top of the second round. So there's plenty of guard help they can get at that spot. There's still tackle help they can get. There's still going to be wide receivers they can get, tight ends. There's a couple tight ends that are probably high second round picks they could get. I think at the end of it all depends on what your approach is going to be to building around your young quarterback. Some teams say, you know what, we're going to go heavy defense. Some teams say we're going to go heavy perimeter, receivers. tight ends, versatile weapons, versatile backs. Some teams say, you know what, we're going to build the offensive line first. So,
Yeah. So Commanders have second pick, 36th pick, and 40th pick. So, like you said, they have pretty close picks as far as the second pick there. So,
I think Brian Kelly, the coach at LSU, I think he was being interviewed during the pro day, and he essentially said, "Yeah, he's going to be great in Washington." So maybe he knows something we don't, or I guess you do know, Walt, because you have him going number 2.
right? Yeah, I guess it's
yeah, Brian Kelly told me everything.
Yeah, I know. I know you guys play golf and stuff, so that's cool. All right, New England Patriots at 3. Walt, so this is a team that could possibly trade this pick, but
Yeah,
if they stay put, who do you think they take?
if they stay put, it's hard to get a read on them because nothing comes out of New England about them taking a quarterback. You hear the Drake May words. Of course, Drake May is going to be linked to every team that needs a young quarterback. But if it's me, it's either Marvin Harrison Jr. or it's probably Joe Alt. I think they need the offensive help bad. They need a big-time playmaker on the outside, someone that can give them some juice on offense. They also need a rock on that offensive line. I think Joe Alt is the guy who can give them 10, 11, 12, 13 years of elite play. That's something that I think people need to stop, disregarding.
Yeah.
It's not the sexy pick. No one wants to see you start a rebuild over with offensive linemen, but the Lions did it with Penei Sewell 3 years ago, and we're pretty solid right now. So, yeah, it's when you're a team like New England that has so many needs, nothing sounds right. Like taking a wide receiver at number 3 doesn't sound right. Taking a tight end at number 3 doesn't sound right. Taking an offensive tackle at number 3 isn't sexy enough. Taking a corner at number 3 doesn't, nothing sounds right because they have so many holes, but defensively they should be okay. Offensively, they need some juice. They need some offensive line help. And me personally at that spot, I would take Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
If you look at some of the receivers in history that went into the top 4, went into the top 5, I think he's right up there with a lot of those guys. He's not the super athlete that Calvin Johnson was, but I do believe Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably the most consistent, the most reliable, the most Larry Fitzgerald-like. And like I tell people, if you could tell me I could get 10, 11 years of Larry Fitzgerald, I'd be happy with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then you got Jacoby Brissett there back in New England too. So, I mean, you can draft the quarterback in the second, third round, right? But again, they kind of need help everywhere on the offensive side of the football. So Marvin Harrison Jr. Going 3rd to the Patriots. I like the pick.
Yeah, I told Kendall the same thing. He's salivating over the quarterback because I understand because you're in the division with Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, to a lesser extent Tua, and you don't have one. But,
All right, Arizona Cardinals at 4.
Shocker, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
A bit of a
A
shocker.
little bit. This one, yeah.
I thought this out a lot because it was the strategy. I figured one of the top receivers, not the top receivers, but at least one of the top 5, top 4 considered receivers would still be available by that pick at 27. And Brian Thomas Jr., big-time fast receiver from LSU, ball skills downfield would give Kyler Murray a big-time target that he needs. And also, they need tons of defensive help.
Yeah.
They need talent in Arizona. I think that team played a little bit over their heads early last season, especially brand new coach, no star players, franchise quarterback out hurt, a team full of, try-hard guys playing with a new head coach. They won some games they probably had no business winning, beating Dallas the way they beat Dallas, but pull no punches about it, man. They need talent on defense as much as they need talent on offense, and I gave them the number 1 corner in the draft.
Yeah, Kenyon Mitchell from Toledo is the pick at 4 for the Cardinals. All right, let's go to number 5, the Los Angeles Chargers. Who do you have them taking?
Was it Neighbors? Yeah,
Neighbors.
I believe it was Malik Neighbors. Yep. First of all, let's get this settled right now because you guys are in the AFC West. So I'm going to say this now. Jim Harbaugh is going to run the football. I don't
Absolutely.
care about Justin Herbert being there, even though I believe he's going to be great for Justin Herbert's health and his career.
Yeah, he's not going to want to go for it on fourth down every fourth down opportunity they have. So that's good.
Jim's going to run the football.
Yep.
That's one thing you're going to get prepared. So Charger fans that's not used to that, get used to it. It's going to be a whole lot of power sets. Going to be a whole lot of duo. Going to be a whole lot of 20 to 30 carry games. It's going to be crazy because it's going to be a throwback to the 1990s.
Yep.
But I think that's what's best for Justin Herbert. And you have to give him something.
Yeah.
You know, Allen's gone. Mike Williams is gone. You left him with Quentin Johnston, who looked like a bust last season, really, really struggled to find his way. You can't play around with Justin Herbert too much. You got to give him something, and you give him the second best. At least I feel is the second best wide receiver in this class, in Malik Neighbors.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, and some people have him higher than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Which I think is crazy, but I think Malik is the second best wide receivers in the draft. And honestly, I agree, Wall. I think that they're just going to pound the ball next year. The Chargers are. I wouldn't doubt, honestly, if the Chargers used, their second, third pick, honestly, for a couple of interior linemen, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Because, again, Harbaugh, obviously, he was in the college setting for many years. He knows the guys that are coming up in the NFL draft. And, you go take a look at his resume, what he did in Michigan, what he did at Stanford, what he did, with the 49ers, it was run the ball. Okay, so I absolutely agree with you. I think that he will be running the ball a lot. And I like this pick. Like you said, they need a playmaker for, Justin Herbert, and Malik Neighbors for sure, I agree, is the second best wide receiver in the class. So good pick by them. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, they have a huge need at receiver. No more Mike Williams, no more Keenan Allen, right? So they have to get Justin Herbert some help.
Well, they need what? Interior offensive line help.
They do.
They need defensive line help. They need someone to anchor that defensive line.
Yeah.
You guys think there's any chance they trade back? So they can
what do you
pick up
think
more
if
picks?
If they stay put and take the tackle at Notre Dame?
I don't think it's necessary. I don't. What's his name?
I mean,
Rashawn Slater, one of the best tackles in football when he's healthy.
Yeah.
He wasn't healthy last year. That was a problem.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're
That was
right.
a huge
But
problem.
I don't think they go tackle. I just don't. I
I
don't
like
think
the
it's
pick.
necessary. Yeah.
I like Neighbors there going the
I
Chargers.
think it's a good pick. They need the help. They need the help. It's yes, they need the help in the interior line, but they need help with playmakers, period, as well. So I like the pick.
Yeah. All right, let's go to 6, New York Football Giants. What do you have them going here
Joe
with this
Alt.
pick?
Fix the offensive line finally. Stop playing around.
Protect
It's time to
Daniel
move
Jones.
on from Evan Neal. It's time to move on for Evan Neal.
They need
Let's
to.
be real.
Yeah.
Keep taking swings at this until you hit a home run. You have to. And Joe Alt, number 1 tackle on the board. I think Olu Fashanu from Penn State is right there with him neck and neck. I think Fashanu is a better pure natural athlete, and I think he's probably better just as a pure pass protector. I think Joe Alt is better overall as a tackle, though. And, I thought about defense also as an overkill at this spot for them right now. They had their pick of any one of the best defensive players on the board. There's a really good chance. Now, this is just my mock draft, but I think there's a pretty good chance that Quinyon Mitchell could be on the board for them also. They took a corner in the first round last year in Deontay Banks from Maryland, though. But I think this is a good spot where you fix what really needs to be fixed. Now, with Marvin Harrison Jr. off the board, Malik Neighbors off the board, Roma Dunze for damn sure is an option as well. I'm not in favor of taking Brock Bowers this high. I'm not as high on Bowers right now as a lot of other people. I think he's sort of a tweener. I'm not sure if he's a pure tight end. He's a weapon. He's a weapon for sure, but I'm not sure how much he helps in the run game blocking wise. His size, his lack of size. I was kind of surprised once I got to see him with a t-shirt and shorts on, how smallish he kind of is. So yeah, I'm a guy who it's either wide receiver or tackle for me. And at this spot, to me, Joe Alt is the better player over Rome Odunze. I just think when we look back on it, 10 plus years from now, we're gonna say, damn, Joe Alt had a Joe Thomas type of career.
Yep.
Yeah, and
agree.
I kind of feel the same way, Walt. And you got to protect Daniel Jones if you are going to stick with them, right?
Or whoever.
You got to protect him,
Or
or
DeVito.
whoever, or whoever.
DeVito, whoever the quarterback is. Pesci, I don't know.
Joe Pesci, maybe. I don't know. Robert De Niro. Who knows? All right, let's go number 7. Tennessee Titans.
Defensive help. I understand what they're doing right now. And this is another team. I had them, I struggled with Olu Fashanu
Yeah.
at this spot. I really did. They spent the first round pick last year on what's his name? The tackle from Northwestern. Either way, had an up and down rookie season. I still believe he's better suited to play guard in the NFL right now. So if you're Tennessee, you could say, you know what, we got Levis. We spent money on the wide receiver position. Give him the tackle. I said, you know what, they're rebuilding on defense. You rebuilding around Jeffrey Simmons. You gave him a lot of money.
Yeah.
Get somebody on the defensive front 7 that can take some pressure off of him. So I gave him the guy that led everybody in sacks, the most polished edge rusher in his class, 6'5", 265 pounds, the classic 4-3 defensive end, or you can stand him up in the 3-4 fronts if you want to, and that's Layatu Latu from UCLA.
Yeah, I love the pick.
Great pick. Latu, man, that footwork is unreal. That kid's gonna be special for years for sure. And honestly though, the thing is that I see here too though, they need offensive help though too, honestly. Right. So I mean I wouldn't even doubt honestly if they pick Roman Odunze here, honestly, with their pick. But if they don't go there, I think then they go defense as well.
And then going back to the offensive line issues, Walt. So Bill Callahan is there now, with the son.
Yeah.
Ryan Callahan. So he's gonna make that line a lot better than what it's been. They'll make some adjustments, and then if they need to move,
I gave them Olu Fashanu in a couple mock drafts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is just how I think I would just continue to build the team. But Olu Fashanu probably makes the most sense for them
because you got to protect.
Even
Will
though
Levis.
they took a tackle last year, but it all depends on how they feel about why I keep calling him the tackle, man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about from Northwestern, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Peter
Peter Skoronski, yeah.
Skoronski, yeah.
I think he's gonna be fine. But again, it's a good pick. What you have here for them, so
Latu is great. I think it's a good pick.
All right, let's go number 8. The Atlanta Falcons. Who do you have them taking?
Let me take a look. Who did I have Atlanta? Oh yeah, Dallas Turner. Now this. The draft couldn't have fell any better for anybody but them. They need a impact player in that front 7 bad. Mm-hmm. I love Troy Anderson. Troy Anderson's growing a lot within that defense. He's going on his 3rd year, I believe, now in Atlanta. But they need somebody. Like, since Deion Jones left, they lost a lot of speed. They lost a lot of athleticism. They lost the regard. Aside from Grady Jarrett, there's really no regard for anybody else in that front 7. And you add Dallas Turner to a defense that already has a couple pieces, some young pieces. They got a couple young corners over there, even though Okudah left. But corner could also be a direction they could go in right now. I went back and forth with them as far as a guy like Nate Wiggins in that spot as well. But I think they get the best player on the board defensively that they need, and that's Dallas Turner. Edge rusher, Alabama.
Yeah, I like the pick. I mean, like Atlanta, they've had a great offseason, right? With some of the moves that they've made. And then also, Raheem Morris coming in as the head coach there. Obviously, defensive-minded coach. So I like the pick.
Well, we heard Malik Neighbors rumors.
We did.
About Atlanta trading up for him. Or if he falls to Atlanta, they're going to take him.
But hey, they have an offensive weapon that essentially they didn't use last year. Kyle Pitts. So it's like you're
They didn't
drafting-
use any of their offensive weapons.
Yeah, well, Johnny Smith a couple times.
That was a
He's not
legit
very good.
offense last year, man.
Yeah, so
True.
I do like the
No,
pick.
and they made a lot
Dallas
of good
Turner.
picks this year. So I like the pick too. I think they made a lot of good offensive picks this offseason. So I think it's the right pick to go with defense for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Chicago Bears. They're up again at the number 9 spot.
Mm-hmm.
Brock. I'm giving
Brock
him a
Bowers.
security blanket. Yep. I think at that spot, Adunze still on the board. I had him still on the board. I just think that I understand Cole Kmet is there right now, but the type of weapon that Brock Bowers is, the type of versatility he can bring to that offense, considering where you can line him up on offense, the fact that he has an extensive route tree also for a tight end, which is a little odd, but they did a lot with him at Georgia. He's explosive, very explosive. I just feel that in that offense with what they already have, he makes the most sense. Now, could he have a Sam Laporta type impact on them as a rookie? I'm not
Yes.
sure.
You
think
I
he
think
can?
he can. Yeah,
For just them or for any team, for that matter.
no, for them specifically because they got Cole Kmet too, right? And then
Yeah.
they have offensive weapons in Chicago, right? So I think
Yeah.
if they were to draft him, he would have a huge impact immediately for the Bears.
Well, also the Bears got a lot of pressure on their backs. There's a lot of pressure to make sure in the media they get this right. You know, you failed everybody. You failed Jay Cutler. You failed Cade McNown. You failed Jason Campbell. You failed Justin Fields. You failed Mitchell Trubisky. There's a lot of pressure on them to not screw this up. You can't screw up Caleb Williams. We talked about that before we even came on. You can't be the GM or the head coach to screw up the generational talent. So I think they're trying to make up a lot for how they screwed up with Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
And it's set up. It's set up. You look at what the potential offense he could have with those receivers and the 2 tight end sets, and then you got Roshan Johnson, the running back from Texas. They got a year ago, bigger back. They brought in DeAndre Swift.
Yeah,
That's a potentially dangerous offense right
It
there in a
is.
couple
You
years.
got-
Yeah, for sure.
he's gonna have weapons all everywhere on that offense.
Yeah,
So I
he's
mean,
gonna have a running game. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, what if they did something strange? And I thought about this the other night because
What would you consider
we're
strange?
guaranteed to get 2 strange picks in the first round. What if they went completely against the grain and we really went with what they need and took a guy like Xavier Worthy? Now I think 10 is crazy. The top 10 is crazy,
yeah,
but we've seen teams reach for speed a lot. If
Raiders.
John Ross can get drafted where he got drafted,
yeah.
Worthy is 10 times the football player that Ross was.
Yeah. Shout out Fresno. He's from Fresno, California. So
Marquise Brown, Henry Ruggs. Even though Henry Ruggs was trending to be a really good player, I thought
he was
He was.
Yeah.
He was.
really good.
No, I like Brock Bowers in this pick though because
I do.
you made a good point about the 2 tight end sets, and we've seen in the past what 2 tight end sets can obviously how good it can be with Gronk and obviously Aaron Hernandez back in the day. So I mean I like the two. You make a good point when the two tight end set there. So and they're gonna have weapons across the entire board. So honestly, I think Brock Bowers can absolutely turn it up for sure in Chicago.
Well, I will say this though, because we saw what happened when Henry Ruggs ran the 40, right? And he ran the time that he did. He essentially jumped off the draft boards.
Yeah,
He was the first receiver drafted in that draft, right? So I mean,
That would be crazy if that happened this year, though. Like, what a word Worthy was
mean-
the first receiver taken.
well, I don't think he'll be the first
No,
receiver.
it
taken,
won't
right?
happen, but it would be crazy if it did. No,
But again, I think just based off how he did at the combine,
yeah.
he might go in the first round.
Well, I actually thought Henry Ruggs was a good football player, though. Like, coming out, I didn't view him as just another short, fast guy because we saw there was a nice little 4 or 5 year run of short, fast guys
Yeah.
where everybody was looking for the next Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Ruggs was actually a good football player at Alabama.
Yeah. But
Yeah, we know.
We know how
We
that
know.
went.
exactly right.
It's a touchy subject, so we're not going in there.
Do you guys think, because Worthy I don't have Worthy going in the first round. Do you think there's a chance somebody does take him?
I do. I think
Because
there's a
it's
chance.
not like he's a bad football player.
No, and speed kills.
I
So,
can see him possibly going later on in the first round. I mean, there's some people that need some extra help.
Nobody
there for
lets him go to Kansas City. I guarantee somebody takes him before Kansas City does, even if they do it out of spite.
Well, what about Buffalo? They just traded away their best receiver. Their second best receiver's gone too. Who do they got? They got Matt Collins.
I don't like him in Buffalo because Buffalo is going to bring him in expecting him to be Tyreek Hill. And I don't think he's as advanced as a receiver yet.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Some of these teams, they bring these dudes in, these kids in, with the idea of turning him into somebody that he's not ready to be.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to number 10, the New York Jets.
Was it Talise Fuaga?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Oregon State.
Exactly what they need.
Yeah.
The top right tackle in the class. I don't think he's a left tackle. Could he play left tackle? Perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen boards of people who believe he could play guard. I do believe he can play right guard as well. But he's by far the top right tackle in the draft. If you're looking for a right tackle to construct your run scheme around and anchor your run game, it's him for sure.
Yeah, I like the pick. You got to protect Aaron Rodgers.
Yep. Especially coming off the injury.
Yeah,
I was thinking Olu Fashanu, but I like Olu too much to send him to the Jets.
Oh, that's kind of you.
I didn't want to do it, man. They got the worst.
Well,
I don't want him to lose his ankles and lose his ACLs going to the Jets.
yeah.
Man.
Well, God bless you. Well, I'm sure he's
But I
glad.
sent Talise there. Huh? Well,
No, you
Talise
did.
physically is tough enough. He's a run blocking right tackle.
Yeah.
So I like him a lot. I really, really
Great
do.
pick. Great pick.
All right. And this is where it gets interesting.
Exactly right. Here we go.
Number 11, Minnesota. They need a quarterback. Well, what do you have
Yep.
them taking?
Drake May.
Drake May.
I have him take, even though I have McCarthy ranked ahead of Drake May, I think Drake May is a better fit for Kevin O'Connell and his offense and pushing the ball downfield. I think JJ is a better fit in a more of a West Coast scheme. Quick delivery, get the ball out of his hands, not too much drop back 7 steps, too many progressions, too many reads, too many split field coverages, reads, stuff like that. I don't think that's really his best suit. Drake May, he's a very, 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 very polarizing prospect.
Yeah.
It seems like right now at this point in time, you either love him or you hate him. I don't hate him. I think he's got big time talent, but there's a lot of glaring flaws in his game that needs to be refined. I think he's a guy that needs to be completely rebuilt because it's coming down to me. Is it him? Was it Sam Howell or was it the quarterback coaching at North Carolina? What? Because both of these dudes played some of the most reckless football I've ever seen from the quarterback position.
Yeah.
Footwork wise, arm angle wise, platforms, inconsistent reads. Even though I believe Sam Howell, his final year at North Carolina, played better, had better film than Drake May.
Yeah.
I'm giving Drake May the benefit of the doubt because he's only 21 years old. The physical talent is there. Kevin O'Connell, I think he would be going to a perfect situation
I think so
for him
too.
to learn. He's got 2 solid wide receivers. I don't know how happy Jefferson is with all of this, or if Jefferson will even be a Minnesota Viking by the time the season starts. But if you're Minnesota, what else do? You know, we
You
talked
need a
about this
quarterback.
early. You're stuck where you have to get one this year because you don't want to be left out in the cold, and you have no idea what 2026 draft class is going to look like.
Yeah.
And you don't want to
then,
be stuck picking between the 3 guys we mentioned in the pre-show. So you got to go get one, and they go get one, and they move forward.
And he doesn't have to play right away. You got Sam Darnold there too. So I mean,
Well, he'll be playing soon. He'll be playing soon. You can believe that.
Before easily, if they take him and if Darnold's not performing, I mean, you can see.
I'm just saying he doesn't have to.
before Thanksgiving.
yeah. All right. Well, you know, I'm just a Sam Darnold fan, so hoping he's able to play the whole season.
It's not a bad situation to walk into. You know, Christian Darrisaw, he's one of the best young left tackles in the game. Get him a couple of running backs. He's got receivers. Rebuild
You got
that.
T.J. Hawkinson still, but he's coming off a torn ACL. So
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to number 12, Denver.
Oh, J.J. McCarthy.
Oh,
This is another quarterback starved team that has no damn choice. So you got to take a guy and hope it works out, you know. And JJ, and we don't know what the hell to expect with Denver, man.
Well, you got Jared Goodman there.
Judy's gone, and
Judy's gone. Cortland Sutton's still there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Javonte Williams still there at running back. I mean, look, they don't have a lot to work with.
What do you think about the match with him and Peyton?
I don't know.
We haven't seen Sean Payton.
Exactly. Besides Drew Brees, I haven't seen anybody work with him.
And Drew Brees was a finished product.
Yeah, he was.
When he got him.
Yeah.
He thrived in the system, but yeah.
But I mean, if you're Sean Payton, it's got to work. If whatever quarterback you draft and it does not work, your credibility is out the window. To be honest with you, as far as a offensive genius or whatever they want to call him.
Well, you got to ask the question too. How much of JJ's career would Sean Payton be there? Because I don't really envision Payton being there in Denver for another 5 years.
He's going to be there at least 2 or 3 years. I mean, depending on how things go. But I mean, he's going to be there. I don't see them replacing Sean Payton.
What if he just walks away? You know, everybody just walks away from the jobs now.
Never know.
I don't want to coach anymore.
But I mean, at that point, then all his success would be tied to Drew Brees.
I don't think he cares.
I do.
He cares?
I think that's why he came back.
Yeah, I think he does. I mean, I think he's a hyper competitive dude. I don't think he just wants to be linked to Drew Brees. So I don't know about how the fit is, to be real with you, with JJ McCarthy. I mean, we were kind of talking about this in the pre-show. I don't know. Like, we didn't see a whole lot for me, honestly, I didn't see a whole lot from him at Michigan. You know, obviously they pounded the ball a lot more. I don't know. I mean, he came up with some great passes and some great throws in some crucial times, but for me, I don't know. I didn't see a lot from him, so it's gonna be interesting to see how he's gonna match up with Sean Payton. It's gonna be interesting.
Well, just remember, you didn't see a lot from Tom either.
But like we talked about though, I mean, we also talked about how, you know, the quarterback, you know, what it's going to be looking like here in the next couple of years. Like you said, they're in a situation where they're kind of stuck. So it'd be interesting to see though.
All right, let's go number 13, Las Vegas Raiders.
Jerzon Newton, defensive tackle, Illinois.
I
know you guys. I know you guys gave Christian Wilkinson big money. I went back and forth about tackle, Olu Fashanu. I wouldn't give you guys a guard at that spot. I thought about Olu, then I said, well, you know, Colton Miller plays left tackle, I believe.
They might move him
to right tackle or just move him out of the building. I don't think he's a right tackle.
Well, he played right tackle at UCLA, I think, until last year. His last year at UCLA, he went to the left side.
Yeah, but that's UCLA. Like, I don't.
I agree. I know what you're saying.
So I kind of struggle with that. I actually thought about Roma Dunze. Also at that spot. You guys do need more wide receiver help outside of Devontae Adams. I love the Gardner Minshew signing. I think the Gardner Minshew signing was a telltale sign that they're not going quarterback in the first round this year. The Minshew can win you some games. You can win some games. Now hold on. He's not going to win you the game, but
here's
can
where
win some games with Minshew.
Here's where I disagree. Antonio Pierce, contract details, I don't think ever came out how long he got the deal right there to be the coach of the Raiders. So if you're him, you need to get your guy. With all due respect to Aiden O'Connell, it's not going to be him. Well, with all due respect to Gardner Minshew, it might be him for a year, but he's not the answer either. So,
well, if you love Penix, take him. If you love Bo Nix, take him. I've always been an advocate of that. If you love a quarterback, you take him. Forget what I say, forget what anybody else says, but just me viewing it in this position, I like Penix, not at this spot too high. I like Nix, not too high at this spot. You guys need cornerback help for damn sure. I thought about Nate Wiggins, but in a situation like this where if I can't get my quarterback, I'm just going to build an elite defense. You got Max Crosby. You got Tyree Wilson, a guy you guys invested a first-round pick in a year ago. You hope he's going to make significant strides. I'm going to put a 3 technique in there who can also play some 4 tech, who can enable guys like Crosby and Wilson, who are big-time athletic freaks, to play more 5-tech, maybe some 6-tech, line up outside some tight ends, get them some free rushing lanes to the quarterback. And then you got two guys in the middle of that defense in Christian Wilkins and Jerzon Newton, who can both play the run, and both guys are interchangeable. They can both play 3 technique. They can both play 4-tech over the tackle, and they can push the pocket from multiple angles, multiple spots. They can gap. They can do everything you really need them to do. So if you're the Raiders, you build in the front 7 and then go ahead and build back, but you're building the defensive front line to really give Patrick Mahomes issues.
Yeah.
A defensive line that can give Justin Herbert some issues, also contend with that running game that Jim Harbaugh plans on bringing, and whatever the hell Denver puts up.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what the hell Denver's going to put up.
Look, I mean, the closer we get to the draft, I really think it's going to be Michael Penix in this pick. And shoot, he might even move a couple spots.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, you mentioned already, Fidel. I mean, anytime you bring in a new coach or somebody like that, and especially
you got to get your guy, Chris. And we know Jaden Daniels is his guy, but I don't think it's foreseeable, especially the way Tom Telesco works, that they're going to give up so much draft capital to move up to 2. And that's if even Washington wants to. New England.
You better make sure everybody in the room wants that young man, because you can bet Penix knows exactly how Pierce feels about Jaden Daniels. So you don't want a situation where it's like you're the stepchild or you're the guy I didn't really want.
But also, knowing that, you have to know that you have to win the coaching staff over. And he has a visit with the Raiders with Michael Penix, right? So if you're Michael Penix, you have to go into like, hey, I know they wanted Jaden Daniels, but I'm gonna be their guy. They got to draft me, not him.
Yeah. I think it just puts another chip on his shoulder. I think just build his confidence even more. So I mean, take a look at his, take a look at it. Obviously, his God, I can't even think right now. His workout. I mean, the fact that he ran what he ran, a lot of people were very surprised coming off of 2 knee injuries, right? I mean, so he's showing that obviously he has the athletic ability. So I agree with what you're saying, though. He doesn't want to look like the stepchild. But again, when you bring in someone, a new coach, something like that, he's got to bring in his guy. And if it's him, and if it's Penix, then great. I mean, I think it's fantastic because we need a quarterback. I mean, period. Like, you know what I mean? We need a quarterback. I understand Gardner Minshew's that bridge, but that's all he is a bridge quarterback, period. So
yeah. All right, let's move on to number 14, New Orleans Saints.
Rome Odunze, wide receiver. Washington gives them the perfect complement, I believe, to Chris Olave, a big-time possession receiver, 6'3", 200-plus pounds, can run every route in the route tree, can block, can make contested catches. The routes are very, very solid. A guy, I think he has an unusual body type, though. It's kind of doughboyish, similar to what Devontae Adams was, I felt, coming out of college. And once Devontae lost some weight, got his NFL body, his NFL wide receiver body, that's what I can kind of see Rome Odunze developing into. And if you're the New Orleans Saints right now, could they take a quarterback? It's possible at that spot.
I don't think so. Not here. You got to get some help.
Well, I don't think if there's somebody you like, I don't think Derek Carr is stopping that. Is it? I mean, if you like Bo Nix or Jaden Daniels falls to that spot.
Yeah, he's not going to fall. Let's get that out of the way. That's not happening.
Well, yeah, get some more help to the guy that you traded for.
Yeah.
If you're the Saints, because
agree.
The Saints are weird, man. They're kind of treading in no man's land, kind of in limbo right now.
Well, that's what happens when you have Dennis Allen as the head coach.
Oh, there you go. Dennis Allen and Derek Carr.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to number 15, the Indianapolis Colts.
Perfect match. You're dealing with an aging offensive line with the Colts. Quentin Nelson, who doesn't play tackle, but Quentin Nelson, one of the best guards in football for a very long time. Body has failed him the past few years. And you got to get a generational player in there for Anthony Richardson. I tried to give him a receiver pretty much almost every draft, every mock that I've done. If Brock Bowers fell to that spot, I think Brock Bowers would also be an option for him. But at that spot, Olu Fashanu, a guy who was considered a generational talent at left tackle a year ago, would have been the youngest player in the draft if he would have came out a year ago, probably would have been the number 1 tackle off of the board a year ago, still had elite tape. Some of the reasons he's falling down some draft boards is he's not as good in the run game as he is as a pass protector. But if you look at it for what it is, all the all-time greats at left tackle, for the most part, were excellent athletes, and they were elite pass protectors, and that's what Fashanu is. And you invested a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of assets in Anthony Richardson, very dynamic player. I think he's a guy that could change the way we view the quarterback position in the league if he can stay healthy. Yep. And if you're the Indianapolis Colts, you owe it to him to keep him healthy.
I agree.
All right, let's go number 16, the Seattle Seahawks.
Who did I give Seattle? Let me take a quick look. Don't tell me. Oh, yeah, Jackson Powers Johnson. Another perfect fit. I wanted him for my Detroit Lions also. But Seattle, they've invested a lot of assets in that offensive line. 2 tackles, got a couple guards. Why not finish it off with the best center in college? Best center in this draft. A guy who can play some guard also, but he's a natural-born center. Probably the best center prospect we've seen maybe since Frank Ragnow. He's a better prospect, I believe, than Tyler Linderbaum was coming out of Iowa a couple years ago. He's a way more physical player, I believe, than Linderbaum was. So I think it's another perfect match. A team that needs a center for a young offensive line. They also need edge rush help.
Yep.
They're another team like the Atlanta Falcons. They need some type of impact player in that front 7. But I just feel for that situation they have right now, because they're going to eventually end up replacing Geno Smith.
Yeah, and it might be this year.
Whoever,
well,
yeah,
they might draft someone. Hey, look, if Michael Penix falls, or he's from, you went to Washington, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
do I want somebody that's the same age as Geno Smith though? Well, are they? Geno's what, 27, 28?
I think he's in his 30s. I think.
Well, 25 is close enough to 30.
All right, yeah.
So it's, well, you know what, they got Sam.
Oh yeah, they do. They traded for Sam Howell.
Sam Howell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, well.
So just get the offensive line prepared for whoever the new kid is going to be in the next couple years.
All right, let's go to number 17, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, number 17, Jacksonville. Byron Murphy, another perfect fit. In my opinion, I think Byron Murphy is probably the best pure interior edge rusher, the best pure interior pass rusher in this class. I'm just not as high on him because I don't like the size. I'm just not really big on small defensive tackles. I think they have an uphill battle at the next level, because if you can't consistently stack the line of scrimmage and play the run, you can't get paid. It's just how it is. The guys who get paid are the guys that can do it all. And I'm not sure physically if he's going to be able to hold up on the interior consistently at the next level against the run. But you look at those linebackers that they have in Jacksonville right now, you're pairing that with Josh Allen. They've needed somebody on the interior of that defensive line that can be respected. They thought it would be Taven Bryan. Taven Bryan that they took in the first round a couple years ago never really panned out, never really gave them what they thought he would give them.
Yeah.
So now you go ahead, you get a serious interior pass rusher right there to help out those linebackers, and now you got something cooking right there if you're Jacksonville. But Jacksonville could also go in a variety of other ways. They can go offensive line. They could go wide receiver.
Yeah,
corner.
I like the pick though. I like Byron Murphy in this spot. So we'll see what they do at 17. All right, let's go to 18. Cincinnati Bengals.
Who did I give the Bengals? Oh, Troy Fautanu.
Yep.
All right, so for me, that's another perfect pick. Fautanu is a guy who, whether you feel he's a tackle or not, I think he can play tackle. I'm not sure if he's a left tackle at the next level, but I feel he can at least play right tackle at the next level, at least guard. Everybody seems to be saying he's going to move over to guard at the next level. If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, get off of this weapon kick. You got to get off this weapon kick and finally do right by the quarterback. It's already been proven Joe isn't built like Josh Allen.
No.
Joe isn't built to really finish the 16, let alone the 17-game season.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose running backs. You're going to lose tackles. You have to make sure that you start investing in that offensive line. And it's not the sexy pick at all. I've heard most people say they want a tight end. I don't know what tight end they're going to take at this spot. They have the ability, though. Yeah, it's easier to move up from 19 to 12 or 13 than it is to move up from 29 to 12. So if they want to move up and take a Brock Bowers, something like that, I think it's possible. But I just think it's negligent that they haven't solved that offensive line yet.
And here's the other thing, too. T. Higgins is still there, right? They tagged him. Do they trade him? Does he stay? I mean, what's going to happen with that? So that's something else to keep an eye on that possibly something might happen during the draft. They might get traded. Possibly.
You think there's any smoke to that whole Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson?
I think there's something behind it. Yeah, I think we had a conversation a couple weeks back about it.
See, look at the Bengals, caught up in weapons.
Yeah,
not even worried about the quarterback and the offensive line at all.
Yeah. All right, let's go to number 19, the Los Angeles Rams.
Jared Verse, edge rusher. Florida State. He's a guy who you look at what they lost on defense. Exactly. Losing Leonard Floyd, they lost somebody else, another edge rusher, but they've drafted well. Like, I don't know how much credit you give Sean McVay or whatever's going on with the Rams, but
Les Snead and him, I mean, they've done a pretty good job.
Once they said fuck them picks. And then it came back around after that Super Bowl win. It's no longer fuck them picks. It's we need these picks.
Yeah.
They've drafted well. You look at Byron Young from Texas a year ago, one of the highest graded defensive tackles in the draft. I mean, they came out. Kobe Turner from Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And then both of those guys were groomed by Aaron Donald. So now Aaron Donald's gone. The face of the defense is gone. Jalen Ramsey's gone. Quite a few people are gone right now. They need to get somebody on that defensive line or defensive front seven behind those two tackles, because I think Kobe Turner and Byron Young are perfect complements for each other. They're going to be fine. Get yourself an edge rusher, even though I know he's old by football standards and people get bored with quote unquote old players, but Jared Verse behind that defensive line can give them somebody that can really be a difference maker at that second level.
All right, let's go to Pittsburgh, number 20.
Pittsburgh, number 20 was J.C. Latham. Offensive line help. This is a team that hasn't been able to figure that offensive line out the past few years. Najee, who you can view as a disappointment on a few levels. Is it his fault? Is it the offensive line's fault? Is it partly his fault? Is it all their fault partly? At the end of the day, you need to figure out how you get the most out of those weapons.
Yeah.
You can't get the ball to George Pickens unless the quarterback has time, whoever the quarterback is. You can't really unlock Najee until you get to a situation where he has the ability to consistently read and get to holes and find holes and actually have holes open. So you go ahead, you take J.C. Latham. I think he's the best available tackle left on the board. It's pretty much between him and Amarius Mims of Georgia. But personally, I would have Latham ahead of Mims. I think Mims is a bigger project right now than Latham. And Latham would, I believe, this is just what we believe right now because it's the draft and we don't know what any of these dudes are going to be 2-3 years from now. But I think Latham will really help them solve that tackle issue that they have with Pittsburgh.
You got to protect Russ. If Russ wants to cook, he needs protection.
Russell Justin.
That's going to be Russ to start off the season. To the end of the season, who knows?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to number 21, Miami Dolphins.
Dolphins need tight end help, need tackle help, center help, guard help. I think Graham Barton would bring a certain level of toughness to that offensive line that they really, really need. Could Amarius Mims be the pick right here? Also, it's possible. But I think for what they really need, someone that can help them unlock the interior of that offensive line when it comes to running the football. I think Barton is the best pick for them. Once again, not the sexy pick. I've seen You said, what do they need?
No, it's what they need.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do they need a legit X aside from Tyreek Hill also? More of a possession type receiver. I think they need that. They do need a tight end bad. I'm not sure they would take a tight end at that spot row right there, but cornerback, there's some spots. Nate Wiggins is the guy that I originally had mocked to them right here, considering what they lost. But I think it all comes back to doing what's best for your quarterback. And what's best for your quarterback is either offensive line help or weapon help. They don't really need the weapon help.
They got some weapons there.
They got some weapons, but they do need the help on the interior offensive line.
Yeah. All right, let's go to 22, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, Nate Wiggins. There's no way in hell. That's a how we wrote. That's a how we pick. Big, fast, even though he's not big, but he's tall. But
yeah.
Super fast corner, man-to-man corner. They need corners. Perfect fit. I don't have too much else to say about it. I think that's just that pick right there, I believe, is probably the one pick that I can absolutely see happening if it fell that way.
All right, let's go to 23. You got the Minnesota Vikings via the Cleveland Browns.
Who did I have there? Oh, Cooper DeJean. So, Cooper's interesting. Not so sure if he's an outside corner. Is he a
He's coming off an injury too, right? Well,
Yep. Is he a safety? Some people are saying he's going to have to move to safety at the next level. I like his versatility. I like his smarts. I like his ball skills. I think he's a decent enough athlete to play safety. Outside corner, I'm not sure. There's been rumors that he could end up at 29 to Detroit. You know how much Detroit likes versatile defensive backs, guys who can play corner, guys who can play safety. But he would give Minnesota somebody young in that secondary that they can start building things around, give them some versatility. He can blitz. He can play the slot a little bit. He can play on the outside, probably depending on who the matchup is. And I think he's an all-around good football player. He can also return kicks.
All right, 24, Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, Dallas Cowboys and Marius Mims. Okay, tackle help. Go ahead, you move, what's his name? Tyler Smith.
Yeah.
Tyler Smith was viewed as a project a couple years ago when they took him. People were shocked when they took him. Tyler looks like one of the best guards in football right now. Tyron Smith is finally gone. You got to fix that offensive line. We've heard rumors about wide receiver at this spot, corner, whatever, defensive tackle. I would go with Mims in this spot simply because I think tackle is a bigger issue. Terrence Steele was terrible for them last year.
Yeah.
And the other guy that they had filling in for him was also terrible. So fix the tackle position.
They need that help. All right, let's go to 25, the Green Bay Packers.
Another pick that really burns me up because I love Braden Fisk. Love him a lot.
Yep.
They need him, I think, probably more than we do here in Detroit. Kenny Clark is a guy who, when he's healthy, which is not that often, but when he's healthy, one of the best 3-4 noses in football, but you only see him every 3, 4, 5 games. I think it's time for Green Bay to get somebody, a younger guy, in the middle of that defensive line, because that's a very talented defense.
Yeah.
Very talented defense. I thought about safety here at this spot. I thought about cornerback also, but also offensive line. But I think if you look at the value, Braden Fisk, to me, was the best defensive tackle overall on the board. I didn't have him mocked to the Raiders. I didn't think he was the right fit for the Raiders. I thought Jerzon Newton and his interior pressure on the quarterback was a better fit for you guys in the Raiders. But Fisk, I think, helps out Green Bay tremendously and kind of completes that defensive front with him, Rashawn Gary, and there's a reason I didn't want to play Green Bay in the playoffs, and I pushed them off on Dallas because
we talked about that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to number 26, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I actually love this pick.
I like this one too.
Yeah. Peyton Wilson is interesting. I think Peyton is a boom or bust player, though. Either a super high ceiling or a player that just kind of phases out really quick. I compared him a lot to Drew Sanders from Arkansas a year ago. kind of a tall, high-cut athlete, sort of like Brian Urlacher. Like, are you a safety? Are you an edge rusher? Are you an off-ball linebacker? But one thing's for sure, he's an athletic freak that can play
He's an everywhere,
sideline to
Walt.
sideline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I think if he gets with the right defensive coordinator, you're looking at a guy that can be a defensive weapon out there. And for Tampa Bay, a team that needs a lot right now, they need linebacker help, younger linebacker help.
Yep.
They're pretty solid on defense. We played them twice. They're hell to run against. And the interior pressure with Vita Vea that they put up front is rough. So you put an athlete like him behind Vita Vea in that defensive line, and you got something cooking for Tampa. So Peyton Wilson, edge rusher / linebacker, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Another defensive weapon for Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep. That's a good pick. I like it.
Yep. All right, let's go number 27, Arizona Cardinals via Houston.
Brian Thomas Jr.
They got the receiver.
Yep. So if the draft fell this way, you're looking at an Arizona Cardinals team who took a gamble at the top in the top 4 and took the number 1 corner on the board, and they still managed to get a wide receiver. I look at it like this. Devin Witherspoon went to Seattle was it number 4 last year?
Yes.
Yeah.
No. The top 10.
He went top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at it for what it is, Quinyon Mitchell, I believe, is a better corner. He doesn't play with the same tenacity in the run game, but he holds his own in the run game. I think he's bigger, he's faster, he's more athletic, he has more fluid hips. I just think he's a better corner. And if Witherspoon could go in the top 5, I figure why couldn't Quinyon Mitchell? So, like I said, if you're the Cardinals, you get the number 1 corner, and you get a big-time receiver with some size and speed that you really need with Arizona right now, because you're talking about what Marquise Brown is gone. Michael Wilson's there. I like Michael Wilson a lot. I think he's a very good number 2 wide receiver. But the other guy's going to Rondell Moore. That's the guy.
Yeah.
So enough with the midgets. you need a legit wide receiver for this guy.
Yeah.
And Brian Thomas is a guy they can take a risk on at 27.
Yep.
All right, let's go 28. The Buffalo Bills, obviously, they're in the news today. They traded Stephon Diggs to the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
Yep, and this mock draft was done 2 days ago.
It was. So,
But
with
with
that
it being-
being said, they also need some.
No, they still need defensive back help. Bad.
They do. Good.
They
yeah,
do.
Tre'Davious White's gone.
Yeah.
yeah.
They just lost him. Yep.
Ford's gone.
Yeah, they lost a safety too. They've been hit by the injury bug in that defensive back room heavy. And I think this is a good spot for Kool-Aid McKinstry, 6'1", 200+ pounds. Can play some man on the outside. Probably can play. I think he's going to eventually end up playing safety in the NFL. I just think that's probably the best suited spot for him.
Yeah. I can
But
see
if
that.
you're Buffalo, Xavier Worthy, Xavier Legette, there's plenty other wide receivers on the board. You took a tight end last year
Yeah.
in Dalton Kincaid. You could go offensive line. Do you decide to completely reinvent your offensive philosophy now that Stephon Diggs is gone and you decide to run the ball more? I don't think so. I think as long as Josh Allen is the quarterback there, they're going to be a throw-first football team because that
Balls
right
away.
arm ain't going nowhere.
Yeah. All right, and let's go to number 29. Your Detroit Lions.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we get the number 1 safety. We get the number 1 safety on the board. Some people may
Real
think,
fast.
why are you guys taking a safety? You don't need a safety. We actually do. What's his name? I call him what's his name because he's completely gone out. But Tracy's gone. Tracy Walker's gone. As everyone
Gardner
already
Johnson.
knows. Yeah, Chauncey Gardner, he's gone back to Philadelphia.
Yep.
So if you look at it for what it is, Brian Branch can play some safety. He's not a safety in the NFL right now.
What's going on,
They
Justin?
they prefer to keep him at slot corner for the most part. Ifeatu Melifonwu, he's another guy that moved from corner to safety. We're hoping that he keeps trending up this year, playing that strong safety spot. And you got Kirby Joseph on the back end. But I think a guy like Tyler Nubin, 6'2", 212, he's a ball magnet. He's elite in coverage. He can also come down and play in the box, but he's the guy. He's a Darren Sharper, Jesse Bates type of safety, a guy that can erase a lot of mistakes in the back end and takes the ball away a ton. We also need offensive line help at guard. Tackles been rumored at this spot, wide receiver, cornerback. But at this spot, when you look at the value, I think Tyler Newman just brings too much value to pass up. So we would take a safety. I personally, at this spot, at this point in time, would take a safety at 29 if he was there. He's been rumored to not Buffalo, but Green Bay. Actually, a couple spots ahead of that.
All right, let's move on to number 30, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yep. They take their type of corner. TJ Tampa, another 6'2", cover 2 type corner, can play the run, can play some man on the outside. Marlon Humphrey, before he croaks out. You hit a jackpot on the safety for Notre Dame a couple years ago that they took Kyle Hamilton. So they do need cornerback help. Could they go wide receiver here as possible? I'm not in favor of another damn project though. Like can Lamar get like a legit guy?
Yeah.
Who's not short as hell, or a legit guy who's not often injured, or a legit guy that doesn't have butterfingers. I'm not in favor of taking Leggett. I think Leggett is a project. I think Worthy is just another little dude, another little gadget dude.
No Zay Flowers.
Yeah. I like Zay Flowers. I like Zay, but I don't think that's what he needs. He needs
so
a
lost
real...
his shit during the division round. Or AFC Championship game, sorry.
Yeah, he screwed up a lot.
Yeah.
They
need a Marvin Harrison Jr. But
they do.
But Marvin, like he's the perfect complement for Lamar. A possession receiver. Like he's really what they need, but they're not going to get him.
They got to figure out this receiver position 1 year. I mean, I know you got Zay Flowers there, but I mean, they tried the Odell Beckham Jr. Thing last year. Didn't work out, unfortunately.
Is it the offense? Is it him? Is it Lamar? It seems to me like the inconsistencies that Lamar has throwing the football. I think no receivers built to have success there consistently. I don't believe.
But here's the thing too, and I don't mean to get off track, but now that you mentioned, I got to bring up that title game against the Chiefs. I think they only ran the ball 3 times in the second half.
Yeah,
3 times for whatever reason.
Weird. Like we only ran the ball 7 times against San Francisco.
Yep. All right, we got Justin Brooks chiming in. I think they lost a couple guys on the O-line and free agency. Knowing the Ravens, they will probably go O-line, then receiver in the second round.
That's possible. Very, very possible. I will say this, though. Andrew Voorhees, who they pretty much got a medical red shirt on a year ago.
Yeah, he is good. Well, he is actually from where me and Chris from the 559. He's from Kingsburg, and he's a big kid.
Yeah. So
that's a big boy.
Yeah, so you can expect Voorhees to be a starter next year as well.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. All right, let's go to 31, the San Francisco 49ers.
Jordan Morgan. Probably, even though he played left tackle, I believe, at Arizona, he's probably, aside from Troy Fautanu, the safest. Played a ton of snaps at Arizona.
Yeah.
A guy who can play left tackle, probably right tackle. He's also been questioned whether or not he can play guard or not. So if you're San Francisco, you're looking for somebody because you're solid at left tackle with Trent, but you don't know how longer Trent's going to be around.
I think maybe a year. I mean, he was kind of contemplating possibly retiring if they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
exactly. So, and they need offensive. Well, they need right tackle help right now.
Yeah,
I believe so. Jordan Morgan is a guy. He's not a high ceiling guy. He's a senior, super senior. But Jordan Morgan is a guy who's played a ton of snaps at Arizona. High caliber player, very high caliber player, and a guy that can step in immediately at the right side and help that team out. Because this is a team that's ready to play and ready to win now. They don't need a project at right tackle. They need a right tackle that can step in and help them immediately. And Jordan Morgan is that guy.
Yeah, I got to protect the Brock Purdy.
Yeah, good pick.
Or whoever the quarterback is. No, let me stop.
Don't start no rumors now, Walt. All right, let's wrap up this first round with the last pick, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh yeah, Keon Coleman.
They get some receiver help.
Finally, right?
Yeah, and people see Xavier Worthy in the 4.2 40, and they see Patrick Mahomes in the arm, and I'm like, okay, Marquise Brown is there now.
Correct.
Rashee Rice, we don't know what the hell's going to
he
happen
likes
with
to
him.
run away from the cops, so he might be suspended a couple of games.
Yep. You got Travis Kelce, who's steadily getting older.
He's getting older.
I think this team takes a tight end in this draft too at some point in time. But I just think even though he's not fast, he's not a game breaker, Keon Coleman, 6'3", 215, probably the best hands in this class. Probably the best ball skills. I think ball skills are between him and Rome Odunze between who's best. And that's even ahead of Marvin Harrison Jr., I believe, who's no slouch. But give Patrick Mahomes somebody he can depend on.
Yeah.
You know, and I compare him a lot to Brandon Marshall. Brandon Marshall didn't really separate a lot, but Brandon Marshall was a consistent target for every damn quarterback he played with.
Yep. Good possessions.
Yep. And you
Good
give him
possession wide
somebody,
receiver.
you give Patrick Mahomes a receiver that he can consistently trust,
Yep.
whether the guy is fast or not. I don't think it really matters. Give him somebody he can really trust. And now you're talking about a situation where, it's curtains for you guys over in that division.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, as long as the Raiders don't draft Xavier Worthy, that seemed like the old Raider way of doing things.
Al Davis. Hey,
For sure.
I want
for
to
sure.
draft that guy. But who knows? But hey, Walt, these were some of the, some really good picks. The only I do want to mention them, and we talked about it earlier. Michael Penix.
Yeah.
I think he's going to go in the first round.
No, I do too. I
agree.
too. And if the Raiders took him, I wouldn't be mad at it. If you like him, just make sure you're taking him for the right reasons. Because we've heard so many stories about GMs, ex-GMs telling you these horror stories about how, and coaches about how, I didn't want this guy, and this guy was pushed on me, and don't take somebody you really don't want. And then you got to stand up Sunday morning or Monday morning after the draft is over with, holding up jerseys next to guys you really didn't fucking want.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
That
Make
is the
sure you get the guy you want.
But we know that it's going to be a team that is probably going to happen.
Oh, for sure.
Who it's going to
What
be?
quarterback?
Who knows?
Bo Nix?
Bo Nix. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Bo Nix anymore. Did you see the comments he made about
What'd he
playing in
say?
the SEC
What do you say?
against the Pac-12? Pretty much just saying that people are dumb to care that much about football.
Yeah.
And he just wouldn't last, and he wouldn't last being a Raider.
Yeah. It's funny how much they turn on the fans and the public though.
Yeah,
when things don't go their way.
I like Big Penix energy more than Bo Nix.
For sure. Yeah.
I
Nice
like Adonai Mitchell more than Xavier Worthy. He reminds me of CD, same size, I think, fast, great body control.
Yeah. Yeah. But the temptation though of the 4-2-1. The temptation.
It's there, and
It's
I'm
got to be
telling
the
you,
right
someone's-
offense.
someone's
It
gonna do it.
has to be.
Someone's
maybe-
going to take him.
Well, maybe it's Denver.
So they take him, huh?
Yeah,
No, trust, it's going to happen.
yeah.
It's going to be some weird pick. Philadelphia Eagles take him or something.
Something crazy is gonna happen. And again, Walt, you are gonna have another mock draft. Second version next week.
I planned on doing it probably the week of the draft,
Okay.
Okay.
more so.
So we'll keep an eye out for that, and then also let's go ahead and plug in your show. Also, Walt, Lions Avenue.
Oh yeah, for everyone who follows the Lions, likes the Detroit Lions, tune in to Lions Avenue on Facebook. Also, you can catch us on LinkedIn. My actual name, though, Walt Stringer, my profile. All videos are streamed directly there. You can also catch me on Facebook. Exact name, Walt Stringer.
And Walt doesn't just know Detroit Lions football; he knows NFL football, draft. He's a draft analyst. Football. You want to learn something new? Watch Walt's channel. Walt, thanks so much for joining us and giving us your mock draft.
Yep. Thanks, Walt.
No problem. Anytime, fellas.
Yep, and thank you everyone out there for watching. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.